Now, traffic in Pretoria has been disrupted in a number of streets in and around Church Square as EFF supporters wielding sticks have been blocking major intersections. The EFF and other organizations have been insisting on proceeding with their planned march in the Pretoria CBD, even though the National Prosecution Authority had dropped its fraud case against Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan. Hundreds of EFF supporters held a night vigil in Church Square ahead of what they'd called a day of action. For the latest, we go live to our reporter Tumaole Mohlaoli, who joins us on the line. Tumaole, good afternoon, and can you give us an understanding of what has transpired in the last hour or so?
Yes, a very good afternoon. Well, in the last hour of EFF leader Julius Malema addressed the hundreds of EFF supporters who had gathered at Church Square just to hear exactly what the outcome of the court proceedings were. And Malema delivered true to form and true to his style, a very fiery speech in which he basically reiterated some of the EFF's positions that the EFF feels vindicated by the outcomes of the court process. And they say that Malema told his supporters that he wants the public protector to release the report today. The report, those messages were met with roaring approval from the EFF supporters, and they cheered and encouraged Malema. Malema then told them that they marched into the Union Buildings. It was a relatively peaceful march until they got to the Union Buildings, where some of the EFF supporters then broke off and began trying to charge into the Union Buildings South Lawn. The police, who were already here, then dispersed the supporters, firing stun grenades and rubber bullets. So it was a very dramatic few minutes. However, the tensions dissipated quite quickly because some of the EFF marshals then charged in and encouraged and bade their supporters to move back onto the lawns just outside the last perimeter fence of the South Lawns. So that's where they are gathered right now. Police are maintaining a high presence and a close eye. There's a police chopper circling around the Union Building. And of course, Malema, when he left the CBD to come here, he basically also told supporters that they are coming here to demand that the president step down following the outcomes of court. So that's the situation right now. Right now, the supporters, EFF supporters, draped in positive regalia, are gathered outside. They are playing music from the EFF van where the loudspeakers are, and they are waiting for Julius Malema and other EFF leaders to come address them.
Tumaole, before we let you go, could you give us an indication of plus minus the numbers of people you've got there? We're looking at hundreds or we're looking at thousands?
I would safely say it is easily over 1,000. It's hard to estimate because they gathered all around, but it's certainly more than hundreds. I'd say it's just over 1,000. The reason is the supporters have been bussed in from neighboring provinces. EFF's leadership had confirmed that some were coming from as far as Limpopo, some as northwest, just to be here because they felt that this was a historic moment. As others are spread out across the precincts in the CBD around the Union Building, and they keep pouring in. So it is just over 1,000. And
once the report has been released, has there been an indication as to what happens, what they do then?
Well, according to what was said earlier, the EFF leadership said that once the report's released, they are confident that it will back some of the more fiery claims that they've made about exactly how deep and how serious the extent the state capture has happened. And they say that the president has been compromised, and therefore they are saying that they are gathered here, their supporters, to basically demand that he step down, that the president resign, because they feel that the report would paint an adverse picture of his leadership, and that as the leader of the country would have no choice but to abdicate and relinquish power as the head of state.
Tumaole, thank you very much for bringing us the latest on what's happening out in Pretoria.